Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the Feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. I want to welcome everybody tonight. And tonight's episode is called Don't Fear the Noise, Fear the Silence. It's a topic that I've basically beaten to the ground, but I don't mind it only because it's so important to this thing that we call relationships. I always say that communication is the immune system that will fight off anything that infects a relationship, no matter what it is. If you have good communication with you and your partner, there's pretty much nothing you two can't combat and can't work through. Too often, that word is thrown around, and what I've noticed is that a lot of couples and a lot of people that are in relationships will look at you and be like, yeah, but what does that mean? What does it mean to have good communication? What am I looking for? Why is it so important? Why do I need to know this? Mike, why are you saying don't fear the noise, fear the silence? Well, I hope to share that with you guys today. I always say that communication is important and it comes in many levels. When you first meet someone, you have what I call direct communication with them. And you talk to them and you ask them how their day was, and you know what their feelings are. You know what the temperature of their day has been. You know what's going on in their head. You know what their emotional state is. Then you have to change, the equation starts to change. You know, all of a sudden let's say you have a family and you have children. That direct communication becomes kind of indirect communication. Most of the things you talk about are, did we pay? Did we pick up? Did we do? What time? Do we have to? Do we need to? That's the kind of conversation that you tend to start having. Everything that you talk about either flows through your children or through an obligation or through something you have to do. It's no longer about the person sitting across from you and how they're feeling. It's more so task-oriented, goal-oriented, and things that they have to take care of. Here's what I found. When I was writing my book, I realized that a lot of people were suffering from the same issues. When I met a couple that was like, the sex had slowed down, I'd start talking to them like, well, let's dig in, let's talk. One of the first things that I noticed was that indirect communication was their sole means of communication. Meaning, they would basically chat about their day in terms of what they need to do, what they have to do, but never ask each other how they're feeling. I always say this. They get to a point where you remember he's your husband, you remember he's the kid's father. And he remembers that you're the wife and the mother. But you guys forget to talk to the man in him and the woman in her. That communication is lost. It's static. I always say it's like when you have children or when you have a lot of obligations and the communication starts to get lost. Have you ever played the phone game as a kid? If you ever played the phone game as a kid, you understand by the time it gets to the third or fourth person, the message is lost and it's altered. Well, I feel like that's what happens. Well, let's fast forward. Now you go to bed If you're lucky, if you're not completely exhausted, you get 15, 20 minutes maybe of some pillow talk. And usually that's what on average couples get. That's the amount of direct communication they get. About 15, maybe 20 minutes at night when they're wrapping up, settling in for the night. Maybe lay down, maybe do a little pillow talk, chat it up. If you're lucky. Well, I'm a believer that for a woman, communication equals love. Communication equals love, meaning a woman communicates and shares and talks and opens up to a man that she loves. I believe that for a man, vulnerability equals love, which is very different. We'll get into that. Why is it so important to know that for a woman, communication equals love? She has friends, she has family, she has sisters, brothers, she has a ton of people she can go to. Yet every day she comes home from work and she asks you, "How was your day?" And you tell her, "It was all right, it was okay." What she's really waiting for you to do is to ask her, "Hey, how was your day?" And when she tells you in astounding detail. This chick tried to steal my job. And this one over here, she thinks she's the boss. And this one over here, I think she's sleeping with two boys. And one over there, oh my God, I can't stand it. And they ate my lunch and they try to tell me, but I said, hell no. And she gives you the whole rundown. Now here's the thing. She's a smart woman. That's the other thing. Sometimes she'll come to you with HR problems at work. Oh, and this happened and that happened. And she's not looking for a solution. She's a smart woman. She's not looking for a solution. She's looking to vent. She's just looking to get it off her chest. So sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen. But like I said, she has a mother, sister, brother, cousin. She has everybody she can go to. But she chooses to go to you. And she goes to you because she loves you. Which leads me into the second part. Understanding silence is so important in a relationship. Just as important as understanding good communication. Now, this message is for the fellas. Fellas, I'm always telling you, don't fear the noise when it comes to your woman. Fear the silence. Here's why. While she still loves you, and she's in the relationship, she's in it, she's going to fight for it. Whatever that looks like for her version of that, she's going to fight for it. Whether it's quote unquote bitching and moaning, whether it's telling you what I need for you to change, what it's asking you what I need for you to do, what it's requesting, however it's delivered, she's going to tell you exactly what she wants and what she needs. Unfortunately, as men, we've grown this bad habit where we kind of ignore, oh, she's such a pain. You dismiss it. Here's what you don't understand. It's not like when we say something. When she says something, she literally means, when she asks you to change something, no, I literally need for that to change. When she wants you to be better at something, she's literally telling you, I want you to be better at that. That is affecting me. I don't like that. It's turning me off. It's pushing me away. That's literally what she's telling you when she's coming to you repeatedly. And unfortunately, as stubborn men, we dismiss it. Because men, we have to feel it to believe it. And unfortunately, it's not until the woman shuts down and is finally checked out that we believe her. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to change. Oh, I'll do better. I'll do change. I'll just do better. Here's the deal. A woman leaves a man way before she ever walks out the door. Some women leave a dump. They check out a relationship 6 months before they ever leave. It could be more, it could be less, but 6 more before they ever leave. They leave once they've told you and they're all fought out. If they told you for the 10,000th time, hey babe, I need you to, take a better shower. I don't like the way you're. Hey babe, it really bothers me when you don't help me around the house. Hey babe, when she's constantly coming to you And whether it's bitching and moaning and screaming and yelling, one day she's all fought out. And she understands that everything she's ever told you has fallen on deaf ears. That's the day you really need to worry. The day you need to worry is the day that she no longer screaming and yelling about what she wants and needs from you. Because she's resided to the fact that you're not it. And that you're not going to change. And that you're not going to do these things for her. So now it's official. I need to make a change. And she mentally checks out. Whatever that looks like, it's mostly silence. Now the arguments are, oh yeah, cool. Oh yeah, no problem. They're not arguing. Everything seems smooth. Everything seems easy. And then when she leaves you, you feel like you got broadsided. Wait, what happened? Oh, because you thought the silence was a good thing. You thought the silence was something positive. No, my brother, the silence is the worst thing possible for a woman. Because for her, communication equals love. If she's no longer communicating with you, that means she's no longer loving you. Now, here's the thing. A lot of times, it doesn't mean the communication stopped. It just stopped coming towards you. You know? And that's a really bad thing. That's a really bad thing, man, because once she's checked out mentally, any changes you make after that very rarely are enough to bring her back. Now, it's not to say that during the process, when she's telling you, if you start to change and she sees it, hey, that's different. But if after she's checked out mentally you change, it does you no good. It does you no good. And you waited too late. So why is it important to understand the silence? I'll tell you why, and I'll flip it, and we'll talk to women this time. Silence for men doesn't mean the same thing. When we're quiet and we're thinking, it doesn't mean what it means to you. And I feel like for men, we need to have this conversation. Don't leave your silence open to interpretation. Communicate with your woman. If you care about her and you love her, keep her in the loop as to how you're feeling and what's going on in your head. A lot of times we'll be thinking about very minute things, like either fantasy football or sports or this or that, something very trivial. And we'll be in deep thought about it. Be a real deep thought about it. And we'll be quiet. And here's how that works. A lot of times women, they sit there and they're like, well, he's being really quiet. What's wrong? What is he thinking about? Did I do something? Did I say something? Why is he acting like that? Oh my God. See, here's the deal, people. She figures when I'm quiet, that's a really bad thing. When I'm quiet, it's a really bad thing. It means I'm mentally checking out. So that means when he's quiet, oh, he must be mentally checking out. She equates her silence with yours and says, if this is how I feel when I'm quiet, this is how he must feel. He must be checking out mentally. And it's just simply not true. It's simply not true. For us, vulnerability equals love. Meaning, love my darkness, my light is easy to love. Meaning, let me put the mask down. Let me show you who I really am. What really keeps you up at night. What makes me sad. What worries me. Let me take the tough guy attitude hanging at the door and be vulnerable with you. And if I'm vulnerable with you, let me know that you're not going to use it against me. Let me know that you're going to love me regardless. And that we'll be together. That you'll be my peace. So it's very different. Now, here's the thing about men, right? We have what I like to call a process. Not all men, but a lot of us, we have a process. And I only wish that women trusted that process and understood that we're going to come to you. You're our partner. You're the smartest people we know. We love you. We're going to come to you. We're just going to do it on our time. I always say, as a man, I like to trim the fat on problems before I present them to the person in my life. What does that mean? I like to handle all the things that are at my disposal prior to worrying her. Let me handle everything I can. Then, if I can't handle it, then I go to you and I ask for your help. I know a lot of times women will be like, "Oh, but give us the benefit of the doubt if you would have come to us sooner." Yes and no. Yes and no. Because if I would have come to you sooner and the problem would have turned out to be trivial or something simple, then I look like an idiot. You know, I get it, feeling that way once there's a big problem and there's something a lot going on, and you want me to come to you earlier. Yeah, I get that. But a lot of times it's things that we can fix or we can take care of before it becomes a major issue, so that you're not sweating it or upset about it. I'm hoping to handle it. Like, I always talk about giving the analogy about the car. I go outside, I try to get my car started, it doesn't start. Imagine me running inside and just being like, babe, we got to get a new car. The car don't start. That's it. It's a wrap. It's over. We need a new car. Now I got you panicked, stressed out, another bill that we're going to have to pay, all worried. Oh, man, this sucks. What the hell? We just bought that car, blah, blah, blah. All because I came to you too soon. I came to you before I checked the gas. I came to you before I just checked the battery. Right? So now here's the deal. A woman will see a man sitting in silence thinking, whether it's playing a video game, whether it's in a hobby, something, just being quiet, watching TV, just thinking. Now she walks over and she insists that he shares. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm in my process. And then here she comes. Talk to me. You don't talk to me. How come you don't talk to me? Why don't you talk to me? So what you just did? You just reset the process. You reset me back to the beginning. Well, now I got to start over. And I tell you that to tell you this. If you would have just backed off a little bit, I would have eventually come to you. You're my girl. You're the person that I confide in. You're the person that I've chosen to bring into my life. I will talk to you. I will share with you. I will come to you. And I will communicate with you on my terms. On my terms. Not yours. Right? I think it's really important. It's really important to understand that. There's a meme that goes around like on social media, right? And it's this this guy shows up to his house and the clothes is all over the lawn. And they're like, what do you think he did or whatever? And I laugh because I'm like, oh, he can get her back. She still loves him. What does that mean? I always say the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. So a lot of times, right, that's why it's all about when she's yelling and screaming and mad and pissed and acting out, she still loves you. Dude, she still loves you. She's fighting for you. You know what I mean? So now let's take that same analogy with the clothes all over the front. Now, if that same clothes, right, is boxed up nicely on the side of the house where the rain can't get to it and people can't steal it, oh, buddy, you just got moved out. You're never getting her back. It's over. It's over. When a good girl's gone, she's gone forever. Well, that lady's gone forever. Because you see the indifference, you see the lack of emotion. That's what I try to tell you. It's not the silence per se. It's the lack of emotion. The lack of emotion is what you have to worry about. It's the number one thing that tells you something is wrong in this relationship. If you guys aren't arguing anymore, if you used to argue a lot and all of a sudden you stop arguing, not because you're getting along, just because you stopped arguing. We just stopped. My man, your relationship is in a world of trouble. It's in a world of trouble because she's telling you this, I'm not happy and I'm all argued out. And guess what I'm not doing? I'm not arguing and I'm not fighting anymore. I am done. I am done. And I promise you, that is when men mostly feel it. See, women check out 6 months prior. A man checks out the day his ego can't take it anymore. The day she leaves. Now he's feeling it, not understanding why. And I always say it. A lot of times I get messages from guys and they're like, oh, my girl's in a whole new relationship right now. And I'm over here still heartbroken. My brother, you got to understand, your timelines aren't the same. You guys broke up. You broke up with her 6 months ago. She broke up with you a year ago. So when you started healing 6 months ago and fixing and trying to get right, she has you by another 6 months. She has you by a whole year of healing mentally, trying to really sort out her feelings and emotions. So yeah, if she does move on, it's not because she never loved you. It's because she's way deeper into her healing than you could ever imagine. You could ever imagine. You got to keep talking, people. You got to keep talking. You got to keep communicating. Because I promise you, man, sometimes you get lost in a relationship. You get lost and you forget who you are. You forget to court your lady or your man. You forget the fact that I have to keep doing the things that I did to get her or to get him. You know what I mean? Like you forget about how I used to go to sleep in sexy pajamas, not those flannels that I'm with 5 nights a week. You start to remember all those things. If you can remember all those things. See, the pandemic, right? What it did, it sped up a couple of things. Before, a couple would be together and they would wait till the kids got older. And when the kids got older, they would say, all right, well, the kids are gone out of the house. Now we can break up. Because when he looked at her, he goes, I don't even like this woman anymore. And when she looked at him, she goes, I don't like this guy anymore. It's time to move on. We can go our separate ways. Our kids are all grown. Here's why that broke down. It broke down because throughout the relationship, they stopped talking to each other. Not talking, they stopped talking to each other. They stopped building that they lost track of what they had at the core of their relationship. I always tell this story, and I love this story. I interviewed a couple that was married 30 years. And I asked them, what's the secret? And they were like, well, they gave me the usual, God first, this, that, the other. I was like, well, and then he said something that really caught my attention. He said, she's the funniest person I know, man. She's always made me laugh. Before I made my money, we were able to get together, go out and crack up together. And she was always very funny. And we just lived our life really happy and funny. She was always making jokes. And I love that about her. So I dug more. I was like, well, tell me more, And she starts to tell me how, what we would do is we'd watch funny movies together. We'd go to comedy shows. That was our thing, And when we got older, we would rent a Winnebago, leave the kids behind, and we'd go to the Montreal Comedy Festival. Just me and her, nobody else. And it was funny because through laughter, we would reconnect, and we would reinforce our relationship, And it was just a matter of they would have that direct communication with each other. They'd be together and they'd be like, how are you feeling this morning? How are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you? And they'd cater to each other. And they do a lot of the things that they did as a young couple. to bring each other together. And they never stopped. She never stopped addressing the man in him. And he never stopped addressing the woman in her. So when they reach a certain age and the kids are out of the house, they never lost track of the people, the man and the woman. So they still love each other. They're like, no, we're good. The kids are out of the house. Now it's time for us to live our second life together and really go, and take this to the next level. Why? Because we never stopped talking to each other. We never stopped courting each other. We never stopped communicating with each other. And we always made sure that I addressed. He would tell me he would do simple stuff. She was always working in the garden. They're in the 70s. She was always working in the garden, and he always made it a point that when she was bent over, bop, give her a nice little pat on the butt. With that little pat on the butt, he was conveying, I see you. I want you. I still find you attractive. There's so much he said with that little pat on the butt. It may seem trivial to a lot of people, but it's not. It's these simple gestures that still flirt with that little girl that's in her. It's him flirting. He's not flirting with his 75-year-old wife. He's flirting with that 18-year-old that he married. That's who he's flirting with. And that's so important. Never stop flirting. I always say that's why intimacy is such an important thing. And communication is a huge part of intimacy. Giving people that time and that space to vent and to talk about what's on their mind, to hear the things that worry them, that keep them up at night, to share back with them how what they see is what you see, how what worries them also worries you, how you have a plan to attack these things that might worry them and keep them up at night. I was once told there's nothing sexier than a man that sees into the future and protects you from things you didn't even know were coming your way. I was like, wow, that's profound. That's dope. You're right. Because when a man loves you and he really cares about you, he understands how the environment affects you. He understands why things keep you up at night. He listens to you and understands what you worry about. And then he can't be perfect to fix all your problems, but what he does do is he grabs the things that he can and he resolves them. And he takes care of them. And he fixes them. Or he does things where he facilitates and he can make your life around the things that you do that much easier. I always give the example of the car that breaks down outside. Your car breaks down outside, and when you come inside, your husband asks you for sex. Most women are going to be like, are you out of your mind? You're out of your mind. My car is outside and it's broken, and now I'm stressed, and it's another bill, and how are we going to pay this, da 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 da, right? How about the guy that knows the car broke down, already has the mechanic lined up, the tow lined up, already understands what the core of the problem is, has a rental set up for his lady so she can get to work. All these things. See the difference between the two scenarios? One, she's on her own. She's got to figure it out. It sucks. That's it. Her mind is occupied now. Now there's no way pleasure's the last thing on her mind. Now all these things have to get done immediately. Scenario two, you literally took the weight off her shoulders. You took the weight off her shoulders and you helped her clear that emotional closet that she has. And at the back of that closet is pleasure. That's why communication is so important. Because what ends up happening is you don't have good communication. You go to bed and she feels unfulfilled. Feels like we haven't spoken, we don't talk. I don't even know this guy. And there's a disconnect. And when there's that disconnect, unfortunately, there's no sex. And a lot of times when there's no sex, there's no feeling of love by a man. That's how we get that feeling. We get that feeling our lady loves us when she wants to make love to us, when she wants to have sex with us, when she wants to touch us, when she wants us. That's how we start to feel love. That's how we feel it. Not to say that we don't know it, but that's how we feel it. It's a reminder. So if she's not getting the communication she needs and she's unfulfilled and she's feeling empty, best believe you're not going to get sex. So now what we have is a revolving situation. No communication, no sex, further distance between us, less communication. And it just keeps going around and round and round until someone's able to say, hey, no, let's talk about this. Let's fix this. Let's address each other. Let's how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? And that's it. That's how you solve it. That's how you solve it. You sit down with each other. And it doesn't have to be crazy, man. I always tell guys, look, you probably spend more time hooking up your fantasy football lineup than you do really doing the little simple things that could happen for your relationship. Yo, you're stressed out. You guys haven't been able to link up, work, this, that. Yo, check this out, man. Try to put the kids to bed. Get a bottle of wine. Just 2 glasses. Sit there on the patio with her and just talk. Here's a glass of wine. Let's just chat it up. Let's talk. You'll be surprised how far along that goes. Be very surprised. Sometimes that's all you need. Let's just have a little conversation. Let's catch up to the man in you. Let's catch up to the woman in her. Let's catch up to those 2 people. I don't want to know what dad is doing. I don't know what the mom is doing. I don't care what you're doing at work. What are you doing? How are you feeling? And you'll be surprised. You'll be very, very surprised how far that goes. I don't want to oversimplify the situation because that's not cool. But, sometimes you have to, you got to let people know, man. So keep courting, keep talking, keep communicating, keep the lines open, keep sharing. And again, communication is the immune system that can fight off anything that infects a relationship. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop for a second. I want to give you a little quick talk about my candles, man. These are what you call my Queen Meech candles. They're legit my favorite thing, one of my favorite things on earth. I light these bad boys up when I get my writer's block. Whenever I, want to wind down at the end, I pull my little candle out, light it up, and I chill out. It's queenmeech.com. Let me tell you a little something about them. In this life, some people are in a rush to reach their destination, while others prefer to enjoy the ride. Some drink to get drunk, and some savor the taste of a fine wine or a good meal. If you're on the latter, sit back and delight in a unique journey with Queen Meech International. Her scents and unique infusion methods are designed to take the proverbial edge out of life. Queen Meech's #1 goal is to guide you down a more sophisticated and gentle hemp experience. Perfect for meditation, yoga, or turning down the stress of daily life. Backed by hours of our research, our candles are made from a unique blend of imported oils and a wick that burns slower and cleaner to get the most out of your investment. If you are someone who enjoys the finer things in life, we would love to be your introduction to the high life. You can find us on Instagram at Queen Meech International, at thequeenmeech@gmail.com, or at queenmeech.com. It makes a great gift for the person that likes to unwind at the end of the day, or that you feel has a lot of stress or even insomnia. It's just my view. Definitely, I'll put the link down below for you guys, and you can check her out. I'm telling you, the quality is fantastic, and she's about to drop another. candle scent. So I'm really excited about that. Right now, this is the cess candle. There you go. Fantastic. All right. Next up, I got a message from my inbox. A message from the inbox. I always love these, man. This is. I was going through a bunch of them today, and I promise you, I absolutely love these. They're great. Let me see here. Yo, dropping dimes. LOL. What's good, my brother? LOL. Love what you're doing. I got a question. Why is it when men say they're broke, it means they pay their bills? But when women call a man broke, it's because a man pays his bills and can't take them out. We don't go around calling women broke that pay their own bills. Why the double standard? That's actually a great question, man. Here's the deal. We're judged on different scales. I don't know what you want to hear. I don't know if you want to hear something different. We're judged on different scales. We're judged by how we can provide and what we can provide, whether it's emotionally, whether it's financially, but something we have to provide. We have to bring something to the table to provide it, to make us worthwhile. When a woman makes her money, it's her money. When a man makes money in a relationship, it's our money. That's just what it is. And if you want to be in a relationship with a woman, understand that. Yeah, I know about the 50-50 and the sharing and all that stuff. Yeah, that's all good. That's beautiful. But if you're a man that's out here dating and you're trying to get into that circle, you're trying to meet people and you're trying to go out, my man, get your shit in order. Get your stuff in order. Because it's going to cost you. It's not cheap out here at all. It's not cheap out here at all. Easily a date, $200. That's on the easy side. $200, dinner, a nice show, or somewhere to go, whatever it is. That's easy, $200. Parking, is that. It's true though. When a woman's paying her own bills, she's considered not broke. Oh, I'm doing my own thing. I'm paying my bills. I call it adulting. You're being an adult, but all right, whatever. I don't understand why that's a big deal. And when a guy's doing it and could only pay his own bills, yeah, it means something because the woman's looking at you like, yo, I need you to like treat me right. I could do this by myself. No woman wants to settle for what she can do on her own. I think that's more of the bottom line. No woman's willing to settle based on what they do on their own. If they can live in a 2-bedroom, 1 bath in downtown or uptown by themselves, and you come into their life and they're still living in a 2-bedroom uptown same place, they didn't upgrade. They didn't do anything. Essentially, you came in, became a burden, became another mouth to feed, became another bill. Now, if you come in and now together we can have a place downtown, a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplex overlooking the city. Now you just upgraded me. You added to my life. You made my life better. Because that's what women, they judge us on. They judge us on, can this man make my life better? Can he make me better? And now that they make their own money, now that they have their own job, they all have all that stuff, you have to adjust with the times. So it's not just about money. Sometimes you need to bring your emotional intelligence. And you need to bring that to the table, and you need to let them know that, okay, it's not just about money. I also bring this. I'm here for you when you need me. A shoulder to cry on. But that's the standard that we created that standard. We created that standard in this patriarchal society that we live in. You know what I'm saying? When women were at home and we were making the money, this question would have never came up because it was like we understood that, yeah, the money is where it's at. Money was our form of keeping, I guess, quote unquote, control. You know, my thing is this: you have to come in understanding that if all you're doing is surviving and paying your own bills, maybe you're not ready to date. Maybe you're not ready to be out there trying to disturb their peace. There's a lot of women that are working really hard out there, man. They've worked really hard to achieve a certain level of peace. There's a lot of women that have I always talk about, we love to talk about the beauty of the butterfly. Very rarely do we give credit to the caterpillar and all the work you had to do to become that beautiful butterfly. I always tell guys, man, and I'm shit. If you're a lady that I've talked to recently, you could test to this. I tell you flat out, I don't want to disturb your happiness. If I see you happy and I see you doing well for yourself and I see you providing a certain level of lifestyle for yourself, if I cannot provide that for you and help you reach the next level, I'm going to leave you alone. I always say the only man that complains about the standard is the man that cannot reach the standard. So the standard is not the problem. It's whether you are in a position to achieve that standard. That's the bigger issue. So when you complain about why women feel this way, I have to say, let's take some accountability. I'm not going to point at the women. It's not what I do. I'm going to look inside of myself. And I'm going to say, why am I not in better position financially? So that this is not even a question. So not only can I pay my bills, but I also have enough to take care of, hang out, and entertain a young lady to the level that she feels she's due. Now, again, it's not to say if you feel her expectations or her quote unquote demands are too high, you're allowed to feel that way, and you're allowed to walk away. But don't get mad at her standards. Her standards are her standards. See, that's what we get to do. Two things can be true at the same time. Her standards can be too high for me. Her standards can be too high for me. And her standards can be very high, which is a good thing for her, because she protects herself from people that cannot meet the standard. See, us guys, we're funny. Our job is to convince you you're crazy, that your standards are too high, that you're too demanding, you're too this, you're too that, so that you lower the bar. See, us men, we're like water. We travel the path of least resistance. So what we're looking for is somebody to make our life easy. And if you make our life easy, guess what? I'm going to keep doing everything I need to do to make sure that those standards don't ever go up. That they never go up. But as we know, money, status, these are all things that attract women. So instead of complaining about it, further your education, hit the gym, maybe apply for that new job, maybe take the second job, do whatever it is that you need to do if you want to play this game. If you do not, by all means, keep complaining. Keep complaining. She's over there living her best life. She's over there doing her thing, hustling. See, you're one of those guys that asks a woman, what do you bring to the table? I think that is the most low-level hanging fruit, low-level conversation, low-vibration conversation is when a guy asks, well, what do you bring to the table? What do you need to do? Dude, shut up. Just say you don't love yourself. Just say you don't love her. Just say you don't care about her. Just say it. That's all you got to say. And this conversation is over. There's no need to be looking at somebody, pretending like you care about them, and then asking them, what do you bring to the table? No self-respecting man that is fully in love with a woman, ask her what she brings to the table. When you're in love with a woman and you're head over heels for her, she's the one for you. She becomes the table. She becomes the reason you go above and beyond. She becomes the reason, the motivation behind going harder. She becomes your muse, your inspiration. That's who she becomes. There is no asking. You know what I mean? Like, it frustrates the hell out of me when I see these conversations about 50-50 and love. Listen, bro, when he loves you, he's doing all he can. If he's not, all you have to ask is this man doing all he can? If he's not doing all he can, by all means, you have the right to complain and be pissed off that you guys don't have the lifestyle that you deserve. But if he's doing everything he can, that's a man that loves you. That's a man that loves you. That's the man that'll be loyal. That's a man that'll be by your side. That's the man that in sickness and in health, the rich and for poor, is going to have your back. But let's stop having these immature conversations. If I'm talking to you about 50-50, it's because I'm not that interested in you. Because when I'm not, I'm just giving my all. That's it. When I'm into you, when I love you, when I care about you, I'm just giving my all. You get it all. There's no my money. No, you get it all. What's there to talk about? What, am I planning an exit strategy without you? No, I'm here. I'm in. I'm invested. We need to stop, man. It drives me crazy. A lot of these conversations that are had on the internet are not being had by happy couples or people that are in the shit. They're being had by people that are trying to manipulate situations. Men that want to manipulate women into lowering their standards, and women that want to manipulate men into being simps. It's two factions that are war against each other. And every single day, we get flooded on the internet with another conversation, with another podcast, with another verse versus them, what they think, no, what they deserve, what they should do. I'm not going with no man that's not gonna, and I need a man to be at least. Then you don't love me. Just say that. Because if you love me, there's nothing we can't work past. We'll work it. We'll figure it out because I'm giving my all. If my all is not enough, then you don't love me. Now, all is a very unique word. It's all. Like all. I'm not talking about all where I have a full-time job and, we're still not getting by. No. I got a full-time job and a part-time job and a side hustle, and I'm giving you everything I got. And it's still not working. Or we're still not making it. That's what I'm talking about. That guy. You know what I mean? Well, a little short cast today. I just want to just come on and talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me tonight and just listening. If you don't catch me here, catch me on Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Google, and give me a listen. I really appreciate it when I want to get stuff off my chest to be able to have this platform. I want to get it to a point where I have an even exchange of people reaching back to me and talking to me and sharing. I get a lot of inboxes off of these videos, and I wish I got more interaction direct, but it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, they say the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. This has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic. a.k.a. the Feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. And thank you very much for helping me walk in my why.